Tennessee at the end of this. But I want to share with you some things that have been in the works for quite some time with the National Association of Realtors. So this is actually policy that is across the U.S. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background on what it means for you as a buyer and a seller and kind of why it happened. So some of you know that I have two sets of twins, which is why the Tennessee boarding house is actually where I'm coming to you from. But a lot of you might not know that I had the ever useful major of history with a minor in English. And I actually studied Edward the First because I really like law, ethics, and fair play. And I kind of geek out on history and why things are the way they are and how that plays. So we might get into a little bit of like why the MLS is the way it is. That's actually where we're going to start. Before the MLS, which everybody just throws that term around, it means multiple listing service. You would go to this brokerage's office and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, or whatever it is you're looking for." And they would say, let's get out our papers and we have these. And then you would have to take yourself to a different brokerage if none of those worked, or hope that they would get one that worked for you. But if not, you go to this different brokerage and see what they have. And so then everybody at that time, and we'll get into buyer's agency agreements later, but everybody at that time was actually an agent or a sub agent of the seller. And so some of the brokerages all kind of got together and they're like, "Hey, we'd like to see what you have. We'd like to help you sell your listings. Our people might want them. We'd like to continue to help our people. We'd like to help your people get their homes sold." And so they started the service. And that's a really short, condensed version of it, but close enough for rock and roll, as we say. So they joined together and they said, "Okay, but we have to be able to clearly cooperate," which is this thing that's come out for the National Association of Realtors, is actually called clear cooperation. And it's really laying down some very basic ground rules on what realtors have to do, honestly, for the benefit of their clients. Hey, Michael, thanks for always keeping my car going. If y'all need a mechanic in Spring Hill, Mike Corday is the man. Hey, Christine, Chris, as I know you. Hey, Mom. So, anyway, with this clear cooperation, if you're putting your home on the multiple listing service, you have to state clearly what you will offer as compensation, your seller is going to offer as compensation if another agent brings the buyer. So you have to offer sub agency or buyer's agency or facilitation, which absolutely going into a different time. So when you list your house, you have to offer something to the party who's bringing the buyer. The buyer's loan is what's paying for the whole thing. So is it really a seller or a buyer's expense? That we'll get into later. But what's been happening is somebody will stick a sign in a yard and say, "Coming soon." And it's nowhere to be found on anybody's information. It's not on the MLS, it's not on a private site. People can't find it. And they're like, "Okay, hey, Jennifer, I drove by this house over here on Foxtrot Court," which is where I live. And anyway, I want to see this house and I don't see it on the MLS. Where is it? And so then I'm trying to figure out where this house is because maybe it's not on my court and it's not right next door to me. And how do I find that house? And why is that agent putting this out as coming soon days and weeks ahead of when everybody's going to be able to see it on the MLS? Are they trying to get both sides of the deal? Are they, what's going on? Because that's not doing their seller any favors. So then it started, okay, we're going to share it out. I have this huge office. I've got all these fantastic agents. I'm going to share it in mine and we're going to get you a contract before you even list your home. That is beneficial in some situations. Okay. I'm not denying that it's not, to not have to prep your home. I had a home recently that she really would have preferred to sell it ahead of time, but it ended up not working out that way. And I had 7 offers on that home. And that was much better for my seller in the end to have done some of that work to prep that home. Then you have to weigh what's necessary for you. So if you're listing a home with a realtor, you have to offer a cooperation amount to the party bringing from the other side. And your realtor within 48 hours of signing your agreement and marketing it in any way. If they're sharing it on Facebook, if they're putting a sign in your yard, if they're doing an email blast to all the agents in their MLS, they have to put it on the MLS in a category called coming soon. I get it. If you're like me, if I swung this camera around, my house is not list ready right now. The Tennessee boarding house is well lived in, and I may have to do some work to do it. But you can take a picture of the front and say, okay, hey, you know what? It's going to take me 2 weeks. It's going to take me a week. It's going to take me 4 weeks to get some painting done, to get some packing done, to get some cleanup done. And we're going to list it then. You have to have it on the market just that this is coming within that amount of time. Then the concern comes up with, okay, well, what Nashville, we have a lot of celebrities. So what if you have a privacy concern where I don't want my house listed for everybody to see it because of privacy concerns? I'm going through a divorce. I'm a celebrity. They're actually not I own the homes, but I'm renting them. And hey, Andrea, and Andrea's renting one of them. And I don't want Andrea to freak out knowing that I may be selling her home and her neighbors are like, yeah, I saw your house is on the MLS. And then it's a big problem. So there's actually a form for that. The MLS has it. And if you sign this, it's exempt from being marketed. And that also means that you can't be marketing it on Facebook. You can't be sending out mass emails to all the investors that you know or all the agents and saying, hey, do you have somebody who's maybe interested in buying this? They want to make this a fair and level playing field for everybody, but really to the benefit of the seller to disperse that listing and let everybody know about it, which also brings up the IDX feed. Sometimes people are like, this happened to a realtor that's on a national page. My house is currently listed on Zillow and my house is not for sale. And Zillow is not correcting and removing that because they're a little bit their own animal. So when these listings, it was an old listing and they're having trouble getting Zillow to pull it down. But when I list a house on the MLS, I have an IDX feed and my broker can choose from hundreds of real estate websites that are out there to disperse it to. But the ones that we're not dispersing it to, they can pull from it. It's just sometimes that information gets incorrect. But if you sign an agreement that you're not wanting it marketed, it's not going out to any of that either. And then if you want your home on the MLS, but you don't want it on Zillow and you don't want it on realtor.com and you don't want it on all those others, you can still have it coming soon for the agents in your local area to see. And there's a box that you can check on the contract between your agent and yourself that says, do not send this out on IDX to all these other sites. And then there's a box that we can check on the MLS entry on the line that says, don't send this out. So there are ways that we can still reach whatever objective it is that you're getting to sell your home and still work to your best benefit and to the buyer's benefits who are out there trying to find these homes. I mean, think about it. Is it in your best interest? I have 1,800 fantastic agents that work with me at Benchmark. But how many more are in the overall MLS? Is it to your benefit as a seller if I only market it to those that I know? If I only market it to my closest friend agents, whether they're with Benchmark or not. That's not doing you any favors with getting it out there. If you're concerned about people who are not properly qualified coming in to see your home, you can also state that before you see your home, you need to have proof of funds or proof of financing. That happens a lot in the luxury home market. You can also say that the list agent must be present. Now, all of those things work to control. We're Americans, we don't always like to be controlled. We're somewhat rebellious. So there are people who may be turned off by that, but that's okay because it's reaching your objective of selling your home in the manner that you want and making sure that your privacy or what have you is protected. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. That's kind of an unusual topic we're talking about today, clear cooperation and the background of the MLS. But this went into effect May 1st nationally. So if you sign a listing agreement with an agent, they have got to put it on the MLS as coming soon. And if anybody, like if I if I call up my friend and I say, hey, I see you've got this house coming in coming soon, and my buyer is so interested, they're ready to go. We've got to make a decision now. Can I please come see it? And they say, yeah. And so we go see it. Within 48 hours of that showing, it must change to active for everybody to be able to come and see. So there's a lot of these things, and it's really, like I said, it's a matter of ethics, it's a matter of fair play, and it's a matter of doing what we should be doing for our clients, buyers and sellers. So if you have any questions, give me a shout. Jennifer Weitzman with Benchmark. Let me give you your market stats for the week real quick. These are only residential. Williamson County had 162 new active properties come on the market, 131 went under contract, and 106 closed. This is just between this Tuesday and last Tuesday. Murray County, 62 new active, 63 under contract, 39 closed. Marshall County, 13 active new, 10 under contract, 8 closed. Davidson, 280 new homes on the market, 352 under contract, and 289 closed. Wilson County, Mount Juliet Way, 99 new homes on the market, 121 under contract, 88 closed. Rutherford, MTSU, Murfreesboro, 165 new properties listed, 188 contracted, and 158 closed. If you're hearing that we're a buyer's market or we're switching to a hard buyer's market, we're not. We have been in a soft seller's market to a neutral market, depending on the price point. And a lot of new construction has had their funding pulled, not the mass big tract builders, but a lot of the smaller builders. So I'm a little bit concerned that we're going to get tight on housing again, which is what caused the whole snowball back in 14 and 15. There were people who were able to buy and they couldn't. So still a great time to list your home. You heard the numbers. They're going off the market quickly. Still a good time to buy a home. My property that I had 7 offers on this weekend was a very unique and unusual property. It doesn't come on the market a lot, and it's the type that a lot of people wanted. It was on 8 acres with a pond and no HOA and huntable and all kinds of stuff. So if you're looking for just, even if you're looking for a unique property, it's still a good time to buy. It's still a good time to list, but don't be taken in by that. This is going to be a buyer's market and that you need to wait because everything's going to crash. I don't think that that's going to happen. So, questions, if you want to direct message me, call me, what have you. Take care. Everybody have a great day and Cinco de Mayo. So, I'm probably going to go have a margarita. Hope y'all do too.